All right, guys, welcome back to the Discovery Eating Podcast. My name is Brandon,
And I'm Jonathan.
and boy, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been 2 luxurious weeks of lots of stuff going on.
Life happening.
Life, the ups, the downs, mostly the downs.
We're both coming off of some sort of sickness,
Yep.
kind of still lingering, if you can't tell. Case in point.
um, yeah, and then last week I almost lost my arm in a work-related accident. But I'm here. Arm's still attached. So that's good. But we're here. We're here now,
We're here now.
and that's all that matters.
How funny that this happens during a spiritual warfare
Isn't it? Just a little bit.
series. Yeah, that's just par for the course, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because life happens, and well, just so happens we're talking about spiritual warfare, and things happen. Whether that means basically the whole the whole town's sick, or whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine.
What's important is we're back. We're not going to let these things hold us back from delivering a great show. I don't have anything else, so we should probably just get into prayer.
Yeah, because we need it.
We need it. So I'll pray us in. Lord, we just thank you for this time to gather um, and just share your word, share what's on our hearts, share what you've placed on our hearts, Lord. We know as we dive into this topic of spiritual warfare today, that it can be a heavy topic. There's a lot of depth to it, Lord. So I just pray that you illuminate our path forward as we engage in this discussion. God, I just pray for. I know we're not the only ones, coming off of sickness or injuries or whatever. That's a universal thing. Everybody's struggling in one way or another. So we pray for peace and grace and healing where it's needed, Lord. We thank you again for this time. Amen.
Amen. All right, we'll get into the bumper and we'll get into it. Woohoo! All right. So, of course, I was planning on doing this last week before the before mentioned accident happened. So what I was going to talk about, and it kind of tied into the notes that I had down, which is revolving around lament, grief, and fear when it comes to spiritual warfare. And funnily enough, with the season of Lent that we're in, a couple weeks ago, one of the pastors at our church was talking about, oddly enough, one of the passages we literally talked about. That the episode came out on the Monday. The following Sunday, it was talked about in sermon. So that's kind of cool. But the emphasis was kind of on the waiting. And I think that pairs really, really well with at least some of the lamentive prayers and stuff that we've had.
Sure.
Personally. Like for our own ministry or otherwise.
Yeah.
100%. And I think just ties in general to kind of where people see a lot of lament. Because often with lament, you hear, God, where are you? Like, I can't find you. Why is everything happening that's going wrong? Or, vice versa. And it often what they are is they're calls for help. It's what laments are. And I don't want to say it's like placing blame, because I don't want to say that any of it is necessarily placing blame. It's just trying to, I can't see you right now, God. Help me to find you.
Sure.
I know you're good. But I think sometimes we can fall into the trap of placing blame
Mhm.
on God
Yeah.
in lament. But in all honesty, that's where like the raw realness comes from, like kind of our it's kind of the feeling part of it, the emotional side of things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because so often when things go awry, we want to place that on something. There has to be a cause, right? Well, sometimes there isn't such a clear cause.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just what some people might term as bad luck,
Sure.
or whether you might call it a curse, or all that kind of other stuff. It gets complicated, but regardless, I think, and personally, I look back at the times where I was like questioning God and asking why.
Mm-hmm.
I almost do it in a more of an attacking posture,
Okay.
where I place the blame on God because I don't know where else to place it.
Sure.
And it's like, well, if God's all knowing and everything, then he surely he knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like sometimes subconsciously I place that blame on God.
I think we all do to an extent, right? I mean, I've got nothing else to add to that. I was just, just a side note.
But that's kind of what one of the foundations, I think, of spiritual warfare in regards to this lament, grief, fear. All of them
Mhm.
kind of intermix and intermingle a little bit, where one fuels the other, possibly.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to fear. Because I think one of the I don't know whether you would call this lamentive prayer or not, is you have fear of death, fear of the unknown.
Mhm.
And God, what happens to this person that I love that's passed away? What happens to them?
Sure.
What happens to me? Like, and you have these kind of questions, and I know people in my life that they're scared of death
Sure.
because they don't know what it's gonna bring, and they don't like it's hard to process. You don't understand what that could mean, and it's almost again a cry for help of, man, I don't know what this means, and I'm scared because I don't know what it means.
Sure.
It's this unknown commodity that, well, newsflash, people don't live forever. Uh, and our time will inevitably come. But it's what we look forward to in the midst of that. And like at least for us, when we like look at Jesus, you see that hope.
Mhm.
You see the hope that comes from believing and following him with the death and resurrection and following in Christ's footsteps. In that, like through Christ, we can find, that silver lining. Because sin and death are so often intertwined, sin being anything that is, let's say, ungodly or unholy,
Mhm.
something that is separating you from God.
Yeah.
And on earth, earth is kind of seeped in it. I mean, there's no avoiding it. Everybody falls victim to it. There's not one perfect person on earth. Only one has, which was Jesus. It is Jesus. And obviously, there's some pains that come along with it. And that's where some of these lamentations and everything are born of. like just like rain falls on everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. It rains where it rains. Like it rains on those who are just and unjust. It does not. It doesn't care. I go back to even Genesis, where okay, there will be thorns that nip on your side or whatever, basically cursing the earth,
Right.
in a sense, because of
The sin.
the sin that was committed by Adam and Eve in the garden, where the garden was closed off, and things like snakes will nip at your heels, and the thorns and everything will be there, like basically to hurt you as you're tending your own gardens.
Right.
Where guess what? It's not so cushy a life anymore. Not that it literally was before, but there isn't life without pain. So it's a given at this point forward. And I think so often we as humans tend to gravitate toward what is comfortable.
Sure. Absolutely.
And where we find solace and comfort in that doesn't cause us pain. Which, when you look at it in one way, okay, that makes sense. The only problem is if you follow Jesus, pain is inevitable. Like you will run into it. And there's no escaping it because it will happen eventually. I was going with this at some point. I'm just kind of rambling and talking at this point. Oh, I guess, yeah. Going back to some of these things, you see a lot of these cries for help in the Bible. You see them in the book of Lamentations and Psalms. So there's some lamentive psalms or songs in the Bible. The book of Lamentations is simply a
Book of Lamentations.
Book of Lamentations of people saying, God, where are you?
Yeah.
I need help. Things are happening that aren't so great right now. God, if you would please make it stop. Anytime now. Please. Somebody help me. Help!
Somebody.
Help!
We're gonna get copyright. Oh, it hasn't happened yet.
There, that's the Book of Lamentations in a nutshell.
It's the Beatles. No, just kidding.
No.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a book of Lamentations. It's pretty cut, clear, and dry.
And like, I like how some of them are so raw and real. Like, basically, even some of David's Psalms, like in the book of Psalms, where he's just like, yeah, basically, anyone who slanders me, David, please strike them down. Like, different things like that. That there's like, is that the most quote unquote Christian thing to say as we think of it now? Well, maybe not so much.
But he's human. I mean, it's such a human element to it. Like,
it's not trying to hide some of the things. You lay it bare.
Yeah.
And it kind of exemplifies, the phrase "come as you are."
Yeah.
When it comes to when you're coming to Jesus, when you're coming to God, come as you are. Don't try to hide behind a facade that you aren't. It's like God knows who you are. Don't try to be someone you're not. Don't try to hide. And I feel like so often some people do.
I think we all do to an extent, right?
Yeah. Like, I even hear, like, Sunday best, and obviously this has changed a little bit in recent years, but people would dress up to the nines and all, like, basically like some people still wear tuxedos and whatever to
Yeah.
church. I mean, good on them.
Yeah, I don't see necessarily an issue with
There's
it.
not an issue with it, but I feel like people got comfortable hiding behind a
Sure.
facade of
This is an
there's nothing
opportunity.
wrong with me.
Let me be the picture perfect, or even using it as almost, how do I want to phrase it? Um, Look at me, look how great I am. Um, Let me look down on maybe the people who aren't dressed the way that I am, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Um, which that's not always the case. Some people
Yeah.
just
But sometimes, like, especially for people that are newer to the faith, let's say,
Mhm.
that were coming in and everybody's dressed up in super fancy clothing
Sure,
and you just got whatever rags you have on,
it can be isolating.
then yeah, you don't feel like you fit in, you belong,
Hmm.
which the whole point is to come as you are. And I'm glad that we're starting to do away with that. Like come in jeans, t-shirt, whatever. Like if you have a full sleeve of tattoos, go for it. Like
Sure.
it's come as you are. Like I personally, I don't really care what people look like
Hmm.
as they come in. I'm just glad we're starting to do away with the whole
This is almost a requirement sort of thing,
yeah.
whether it's spoken or unspoken. And I always feel like it was more of an unspoken.
It was like
There's just a quiet judgment,
cuz you know how like in church you have like unassigned seats
Sure.
where people always sit and then when somebody else sits there
Yeah,
like
that was my spot. We're always there.
it's always so funny. I mean, our family sits in the same spot because nobody sits up front. But I guess that's besides the point. But going alongside of like lament, grief, fear, when it comes to like spiritual warfare
Hmm.
in that, obviously doubt is something that pops up
Yeah.
where like God, where are you? Why aren't you here? It can be something that basically the enemy can latch onto and expound upon. Basically having you hyper fixate on it
Sure.
of these lamentations. And ultimately, what I think we should do when we have these lamentations is you bring it to God and you talk to him about it. I think so often we don't even think to actually talk to God about it. We're just complaining.
Hmm.
We're complaining to complain. Guess what? I complain a lot. It's at work often.
Hmm.
Um, because well, I don't particularly like being at where I work. Um, doing pizza and stuff like that. And customers are customers. And so sometimes, you complain. That isn't solving anything.
No,
That's not talking to anybody about it truthfully and honestly.
it's venting.
Yeah, you're just venting, which you can do that.
Sure.
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it as long as you don't go a super toxic direction with it.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you're not really talking to God about it.
You're
You
complaining.
you're just you're complaining. Which I mean, that's real.
Hmm.
It's raw. You are coming as you are at that point, but you're not focusing the conversation anywhere.
Sure.
You're just kind of also basically you're screaming into a pillow.
Or after a bad day of work, when you get in your car and you're just, ah! I wanted it to go better.
Just hear the guy next to him driving. You're like,
Somebody's having a rough day.
I'll speed up a little bit. Or slow down, one of the two.
Whichever will get me out of his line of sight.
And then I guess we'll focus in on the waiting aspect because I know for both of us right now, we're kind of in that waiting period
Mhm.
as we're waiting for potential ministry jobs or
Whatever.
whatever God is calling us and where He's leading us. And waiting is hard. Um,
Especially when you've been waiting for a long time.
uh-huh. Yep. And to me, that waiting right now for that thing is kind of a lamentive prayer for me.
Sure.
Kind of the God, where are you? Here's like all the applications and stuff that I've sent out, and either I've never
What's
heard
the
back from them, they ghosted me, different things like that. Even after following up, different things like that. Like, what's going on? Like, I know it's gonna be hard. I know it's not an easy path forward, but boy, oh boy, I'm starting to get real tired of Pizza Hut or wherever I'm working. That's just that's my real and raw
Sure.
thing. I don't even know if I was supposed to say different. Who cares? By the time you probably watch this, I'm not even gonna probably be there anyway anymore.
You got Pizza Hut corporate on the other, just watching religiously. What did he say?
Watching religiously. um, yeah. So I think that's kind of both of our lamentive prayers right now. It's just being stuck in this waiting.
Mm-hmm. Or at least feeling stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in this transition period for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a while.
Don't really want to do the math. It'll make me sad.
Let's just say it's more than 6 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it wears down on you, because you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well,
It just feels like you're stumbling in the dark.
it's really easy to have hindsight.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Oh yeah. No, don't I know it?
So when you're past something, oh, see, this is how God moved and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But when you're like in the moment, looking ahead and seeing nothing but haze, God, I don't see your footprints. I just see fog. I'm supposed to follow in your footsteps, but what happens if I can't see the ground?
Well, and it's interesting that you bring up the hindsight thing, because I think even in periods of waiting, like I know we're both um, in the midst of that, you look back and you're like, oh, okay, that's why, sort of thing. But then it's exactly what you just said too. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but and you can see, like, you can look back. I can look back and point to moments in this period of
Yeah.
waiting and go, oh, God moved there, but God, where are you now? I can't. What am I doing now? What's the plan now? It's like patience is a virtue that it's hard to have when it feels like,
When it feels like it's been forever.
yeah,
Um, I'd say I'm a pretty patient person, but it's
for
like
sure.
I'm starting to get a little impatient, a little antsy.
Especially in regards to this, not this as in the podcast, but this period of waiting, um, that I've been in, that I know you've been in. The patience is running thin. I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, I mean it's frustrating. It's depressing, but
And I mean, even for me, it's like, okay, so I got a master's degree.
mm-hmm.
Did I waste my time? Like, that's some of the stuff that's going in my head. I'm like, I spent all this time and money, and for what?
What was it? Was it worth it? I don't
Yeah.
know.
And it's like I don't know what do I do? What am I supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm sending applications and it seems like nobody wants me. It's like, what experience do you have, like, preaching and everything? Well, I don't really have the opportunity to do that. So, but I'm not
How
like
does one enter an entry level job with
how do
experience?
you how yeah, but that's like all jobs in general
I
though,
know.
which is and I know we're not the only people in that boat.
No,
Like this isn't just a, religious thing.
no. This is just it's a cultural thing. I mean, it's a human thing. It's
I mean, I guess for anybody who's kind of in the same age range as us, that you probably can identify with kind of what we're going through.
Mhm.
Where you just can't find jobs.
Can't find jobs, and I mean, it's not even just the job thing. I mean, it's a lot of things in general. It's easy to feel stuck in just this 20s period. Like, I feel like I should be doing more, but when I try to do more, I feel like I get trapped and I don't know where else to go. So I
Or you're almost looked down on because
sure.
you don't have set experience
Mhm.
and you're often cast aside.
Mhm.
Like for me, basically all I'm asking for is somebody take a flyer.
Sure. Give me a shot.
Yeah. So it's like somebody just take a flyer on me. I'm a quick learner.
Mhm.
Like that's something I'm pretty good at doing. Like I can learn pretty good. It's not a the thing is they want proven commodity,
Mhm.
which well, it's kind of a lot to ask for if nobody can get a proven commodity unless you're given a chance, which unfortunately for where we are right now, we don't necessarily get a full on chance,
Mhm.
like for at least main service stuff, or a lot of it at least. But like we help out with youth and we sometimes speak at youth. So there's that. There's little opportunities like that, and we try to capitalize on it, but you're not doing it with any regularity.
No.
So the best way to talk is honestly through this. Hi,
Yeah.
guys.
Well, and that's the thing without regularity either. You might have a great week, you might have a terrible week because there's no, it's not consistent enough to be able to build up skills that are going to be transferable. Or I don't know. I feel like we're rambling, but
Oh, we're definitely rambling. But I mean, we're just being raw and honest with, hey, this is some of the stuff we're struggling
sure.
with too. Um, and yes, this is a spiritual warfare series. Um, and how often I know this has been for I think both of us where we start second guessing of is ministry where I'm supposed to
Sure.
be or different things like that because I know I've heard you say something about it before. I know I've thought it before where you know some of those little things bubble up.
Mhm.
It's the enemy kind of hyper fixating on the crud that's happening. And it's like, is this really where you should be at? Or, that kind of stuff. Where, and it doesn't help that, okay, yeah, I can't get a job anywhere. And I know it looks a little bit different now because a lot of things are more bivocational now.
Mhm.
So you work part time here, part time there, which doesn't help for
No,
insurance and stuff like that.
no, it makes it difficult, but that's a different
That's a
conversation.
separate issue.
Um, no, I think that the whole doubting thing that is something that has been very real for me. Not necessarily doubting and like, what do I believe? But when I was in college and I was pursuing my bachelor's, I was so gung ho, like, this is where God is calling me. I had an internship that was amazing. Um, and it was almost immediately after graduating college. You start putting some applications out there. It was rejection after rejection, or you just don't hear anything back, like you were saying. Um, I've seen all of it. And it really does. It breaks you, and then you start thinking, did I just waste the last several years of my life getting a degree, spending all this
Yeah.
money, all this time? Was that internship that I did, was all of this, you know,
Like
all of these, little implications that ministry was where I was meant to go. Was that all in my head? Am I going crazy
like
here?
was it an illusion?
Was
Like
it? Yeah.
yeah.
And you really start to doubt. And then like you mentioned earlier, you've got that hindsight part where there's been moments for me where I've thought, okay, maybe it's not a vocational ministry. Maybe it's ministry in a way I didn't expect. I don't know what that is. I don't even know if that's the case because there's still that part of me that sits there and, eats away at the back of my brain saying, is this even real? Is it ministry even? Is this the path? I don't know. I don't know. But the doubting thing has been something that's been very real for me, um, and very frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be real, I mean
It's been frustrating for me because I mean, right now, currently, I have 2 applications out that have been over a week, and I've heard back from neither of them.
yeah,
After I've done follow-ups to both,
yeah,
and you don't hear anything back. It's like, awesome, sweet. Obviously, I don't know everything that's going on,
sure.
and that's
But it's
part of it.
really easy to hyperfixate on at least for me. I can't speak to you, but I know we're similar in more ways than we're different. Um, but I know when I would put out applications and I wouldn't hear anything back, even after a follow up, my thought wouldn't necessarily be, okay, maybe they found another candidate, they just haven't taken down whatever, the posting, or maybe they're taking a break on the search. My thought is, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Is that where your mind kind of goes?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I give them benefit of the doubt, and then when it takes longer and longer and longer, it's like, okay, so this is me then.
Yeah. And it's
well, and like,
I mean, to be completely honest, I mean, it could be, wasn't the right candidate, whatever.
but
it's a lot harder to give like, to look at it from their perspective. Like, maybe there is, they're pausing the search for whatever reason. Maybe there's something external going on. And it's really easy to look at it from just my perspective.
yeah.
I'm the problem.
Well, and like even sometimes what I would think is I send it out, whatever, I don't hear back. And then I start thinking, okay, so was my application just scanned
Lost?
through and then tossed in the trash because
Sure.
it wasn't good enough?
Sure.
Because
kind of like they put it through a resume, sort of.
like scanner kind of, or I
don't know how it all works.
Because I know like my grandpa was like, he was like, he had his own company, so
Mhm.
he would go through applications and he would toss some.
Sure.
Because just initial scan, nope.
I mean, as somebody who does a lot of the hiring at my current job, there are applications that I toss out.
So then
I mean,
it comes to my mind where I'm like, is my application so bad that they just toss it?
Sure.
Oh, no preaching experience. Okay, toss.
Like they look for like the trigger words.
Yeah,
like,
they look.
No experience. Out of here.
And that's always what runs through my mind.
Sure.
Obviously, I can't, especially if I can't talk to them, then I definitely have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the kind of stuff that goes through my mind, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, I'm very self-depreciating. Like,
Yeah.
I'll go against myself a lot more than go against others.
Kind of beat yourself up.
Yeah. But anyway, so I did want to go into some Bible stories, kind of surrounding lament, grief, fear, kind of along that, more in terms of lament and grief. So I wanted to go into 2 possible passages. One we've touched on before, and then one I don't think we really have. Where it comes into the spiritual warfare side of things.
Sure.
And though it's not explicitly stated as spiritual warfare, I would imagine, and this is ATB here,
According to Brandon.
um, where I really think there's a huge pressure of spiritual warfare in the midst of it. So we'll start with one that I know we've touched on before, which is the road to Damascus, Saul's conversion, everything there.
So if
It's
you
in Acts
remember,
9.
we talked about this. It was in this series. It was probably 2 or 3 episodes back. If you're interested in seeing that, I don't remember which episode it was. It might be kind of fun to search for it.
Couldn't tell you where it is. I might have briefly mentioned it last episode, but that's been
2 weeks.
That's been 2 weeks for us.
But it's out there. It's somewhere on the channel. Have fun.
But I mean, you could say Saul having spiritual warfare, not being able to see. So that's one side of things. And the fact that, I have blood on my hands because of everything that I've done and I've been the authority behind.
Sure.
With the stoning of Stephen, all that kind of thing. So there's that side of things, just with Saul or Paul himself. And then you have on the flip side, Ananias, who was called out by God to basically, hey, help this guy named Saul out on the road to Damascus.
Now, I know you don't want to, but
it's like, so here, this is what you have to do. Ananias comes out he wakes up from his dream, or however he gets this calling or whatever. He goes, I have to go to the bathroom real quick.
I might not be back for a couple business days.
Wait for your response in 2 to 3 business days.
I gotta really contemplate this one.
Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of spiritual warfare that would have been on Ananias, especially from the enemy. And again, this is hindsight. We know what Paul does.
Right.
And God uses him as his instrument for quite a good chunk. Most of the New Testament, in fact. All the Pauline letters.
But you're right. I mean, you got to think about what was going through Ananias' head at that moment is, if I help this guy, I mean, Saul was a major figure even before his conversion, and not in a positive way.
Well, and he was the main point in Stephen's stoning.
Exactly. And so,
which just had, I don't know time-wise how close it is to it, but like right next in the Bible, at least in the book of Acts, they're like right next to each other.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to assume it was
at least close.
On his mind.
Yeah.
It was on his mind. And I don't know. I mean, you look at it from just a human perspective, I'd be thinking, what would be the repercussions of my actions in this moment? You know, this is a guy who, again, stoned Stephen to death. You know, he was a major figure in that. If I come to this guy's aid, and it goes wrong, and something doesn't go right, and you know, maybe I misunderstood or whatever, what is going to happen to others? I don't know. From a human perspective, I'd be, you know, and you'd have to think that was going through his head. He probably had pressure from the enemy even saying stuff like that.
Well, especially with the gravity behind it all.
Exactly.
Because, and this is something I think we can both attest to, the closer you are to God's design and God's plan, the stronger the opposition is against you.
Mm-hmm.
The stronger the opposition. It comes without saying. Because, typically the closer you are to, like, say, like, the goal, the objective in enemy territory, there's going to be some pushback.
Sure.
And it's I can't claim to know what Ananias had in his mind.
Nobody can. We don't know.
And of course, we would love to say, "Oh yeah, would do that in a heartbeat." Absolutely, for sure. If God told me to do it, I would do it. Yeah, it's because you know how the story goes.
Sure.
Again, like we were talking about before, when you're in the moment, you see nothing but a fog in front of you, and you're told something like that. How it was said, whether that be audible or however, I don't know. God speaks in different ways. Most of the time, from my experience, is not vocal.
Sure.
I don't want to say it's like the gut feeling, but it's like the fifth sense almost. Now I have heard audible stuff, not frequently, mind you, and not too many times. I'd say once, maybe. But yeah, but I don't even know where I'm going.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, it is a kind of it isn't. We obviously have hindsight, and like you said, it's really easy to say, "Oh, I would have done that differently," like you said. But it's a fun exercise to assume. What if we didn't have hindsight? What if we were in Ananias' shoes in that moment without the hindsight? How would we respond? I don't know. What would be going through his head in that
I
moment?
mean, you even see, even in other characters in the Bible, hey, God, pick someone else.
Yeah.
Look at Moses. Hey, God, I'm not that good at talking. Pick someone else.
I'm not that guy, pal. I'm not that guy.
Don't choose me. Don't choose me. I'm not the person you choose first for the kickball team.
Yeah, I mean, you
Don't
see it
pick
Moses,
me.
you see it Jonah, you see it. Well, Jonah was more just he was just kind of ticked off that
He
he had
just
to do it.
I don't want to do it. They deserve it.
I don't wanna. I'm not gonna do it. You can't make me. Okay, he made me, but
It won't happen again. Oh, it happened again.
but I mean, the point still stands. I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah, and then obviously you have the Book of Job, which I think is one of the best books in terms of hello spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
That's basically the whole book. And basically, God, why does this stuff happen? And that's beyond whether things go right or wrong, or I say right or wrong, but if things get better or worse is probably a better way of putting it. And then another one I wanted to talk about was with Ruth and Naomi in the book of Ruth. With Ruth 1. And I think we'll probably just you can read it on your own time, but we'll kind of we'll talk through it. So basically at the beginning of the book, Naomi's, husband and then her sons die in, I believe, a famine or something along those lines.
I have it pulled up. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, there was a famine that ruled the land.
Yeah,
her husband and sons died. I mean,
and then she was returning to her homeland, which was oddly enough Bethlehem, which has some significance, for
just
the
a little bit.
overall narrative of the Bible, but needless to say. So that's where Naomi's going, and Ruth, and I don't even remember the name of the other.
Hold on.
The other one. Yeah, I know you're there. I want to say it starts with an L or an O, but don't quote me on it. Obviously, I know Ruth because that's the name of the book of the Bible that it's found in. Orpah. Okay, see, I was right with one of the two letters. And And basically, Naomi gives them the option. You can go back to your homelands. Woe is me. Why would you don't need to follow your, you know, mother-in-law with
Mhm.
no husband to
Sure.
connect you to me.
Yeah.
So
Basically say
go back to your own
you're free.
families. You're free now. So Orpah does.
Yep.
Goes back. As I think what most people would
Sure.
probably do, and there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
Like,
I think that's a reasonable response to the situation. I mean, your husband's dead, or your partner or spouse or whatever you want to has died. I mean, there's not really any familial bond anymore connecting you to your parent-in-law. So
yeah. So
Orpah does.
yeah,
She leaves.
Ruth does not.
No, she makes the opposite decision.
She's like, wherever you go, I go.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's like, and I think part of what Ruth's saying is like, I think this is kind of like, I don't want to say it's like, this is the emotional intelligence right here of, man, Naomi's going through a rough spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband and her entire family is gone. Like, her sons are all deceased. Husband's gone. Orpah left. Yeah, just Ruth being like, nope, we're still family.
Yeah, I always look at it as this, kind of the nobody should grieve alone sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're both grieving in a
Yeah.
sense.
But I think even
it's
with
just the sitting with somebody,
Yeah.
being there with them.
and you see that in Job as
Mhm.
well. But especially with Ruth, where it's like, I don't know, would I do the same kind of thing? I feel like part of me would say yes, because I don't like seeing people suffer that
Sure.
much, especially if you know the circumstances and have been tied to similar things.
Yeah.
The familiarity behind it. So like this, and how would the spiritual warfare for that be? And both in terms of Naomi and Ruth. So what is
That is a tough question.
So what is Naomi doing? She's isolating herself, or trying to. Ruth doesn't leave her.
Because I mean, from an outside perspective looking in, you could say, what we were talking about earlier is there's nothing tying you to me anymore. Just go back to your own families. That's you could make the argument that that was the honorable thing, but on a personal level, you're right. She was broken. She was isolated. This was her.
She was broken, but almost trying to stay broken. Like,
Yes,
staying
and
in
that's what I was getting at. Is she was going towards just leave me alone. Let me just wallow, sort of.
And Ruth is basically, I'm not leaving you alone.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is really honorable. I love Ruth's character in the Bible. But you have to admit, it's the amount of what was on Naomi's mind is a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to assume, like, what's in Naomi's head at that point. Yeah, at that point. God, why would you let this happen?
Sure.
Why did it have to be me? Like, woe is me. This lamentive grief. I mean, you don't really hear it in the Bible of crying out and all of that. I mean, it's probably there in some regards, but not like to the extent of like a David or someone who is very upfront and honest about
Sure.
it. But I can't imagine it was an easy experience. And definitely would have had some, spiritual warfare implications of trying to send people away
Mhm.
when you're grieving. Even though, at least from what I know of Hebrew culture and everything like that, is they did like they came together when there was grief. There was the sitting with, all that kind of thing. So for Naomi to separate and try to separate and really having no other place to go back to, yeah, stuff. And then on Naomi's part, okay, so your father in law died, your brother in law died, your husband died, and then Orpah leaves. Okay, so what does that mean for you? Is Naomi just going to kick you out? Is she just going to be, just leave me? I don't want any lingering things to remind me
Sure.
of XYZ. You know, I don't want to be reminded of my dead son, or I don't want to be reminded. And I think that might have been part of it too, where it's like, I can't look at it, otherwise I'll be reminded of. And so that had to have been going at least in some parts in Ruth's mind. But at the same time, like like wrestling with, okay, so I'm leaving family behind. I had a chance to go back to family
Mhm.
and kind of rebuild, restart my life. And now I'm walking into this completely blind, with no direction, with nobody else, only simply following Naomi. And from what I know, Ruth was, outside of like the Hebrew circle, if you want to call
Sure.
it that, from the kind of the beginning, because they were a little outside of the original family lineage. I
Okay.
want to say. I mean, it gets complicated with lineages and
She was an
genealogies,
outsider, though, to an extent.
different to that of Naomi.
Yeah.
Let's put it like they lived in different regions.
Sure.
So obviously Naomi comes back to Bethlehem, in that general area. I don't recall where it said Ruth and Orpah were from, but somewhere,
Yeah.
somewhere, somewhere, somewhat close, but at the same time, maybe a little bit further away.
Mhm.
So it could be where there's a lot of ites, and I'm not gonna go into that right now. I didn't do research. There somewhere there's a lot of names and things get complicated real quick. So yeah, there's that. But I just kind of wanted to rehash, or not rehash. I wanted to just kind of go over, you know, again, these are ATB because it doesn't specify in the Bible different things that they were wrestling with or going through. But I would just be curious to know, you know, what kind of spiritual warfare they were going through, because I really do think they were going through spiritual warfare in one facet or another. And it's how they responded in
In the midst
term
of it.
in the midst of it. You see how Ruth responded,
Mhm.
and yet Naomi would respond in the way that seemingly trying to separate, but Ruth is coming towards. And this is where this mirror of God comes in, where God is the one who's moving, chasing after us.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what Ruth does here. Chases after Naomi. Hey, I know what you're going through. I'm here for you. It's that kind of thing. And it's why I like the Book of Ruth. Obviously, you have the whole Redeemer and everything like that with Boaz in later parts of the story as well. And that's good and all. But I think the most impactful part of the book is right from the get go. So, yeah. This is a little bit on lament, grief, waiting, all that fun stuff. Or, whether you call it fun or not. It's up to you guys.
Open to interpretation. But yeah.
I know these last couple, or at least this past episode and this haven't really been structured all that much. We're going basically off of my notes because I haven't had a whole lot of time to look at it even after having 2 weeks off because
Life.
But
we hope that you still got something from it, that you still enjoyed engaging with it, and we want to invite you back next week.
I mean, we're coming as we are. we're laying it raw. I mean, we don't edit these either, so you just see everything. We do the ums and ahs and all that kind of thing.
I mean, you heard us probably hack a cough, multiple times.
Some YouTubers or some podcasters might edit it out or different things. No, you get the full thing.
You got to keep it real.
Keeping it real since.
But
yeah.
Any final thoughts?
I mean, there's plenty of other things we could talk about, but I think the conversation that we had is good. Yeah, and then we'll continue next week. Well, maybe we'll continue next week. I think we will.
I hope we will.
And then we'll go into more of the influence of emotions.
Ooh.
When it comes to spiritual warfare. So I know we were talking a little bit with like emotional intelligence this time. Then it takes a different pathway into other places of spiritual warfare that at least I see in scripture or you can dive deeper into. And we'll talk about some of those. And then we'll probably talk about some sort of thing with emotions. I don't know. We sometimes wing these episodes and you see it. We're probably going to be busy again, so we'll probably do exactly the same thing. Who knows? And maybe I'll research it. I don't know.
We're going to find out next week, so stay tuned.
You'll find out with us. But anyway, I think that'll be it for this video.
See you next time.
Yeah. Take care. Bye. See ya.